Hello everyone and welcome to Sports Drill on the Morning Bird Media Network. I'm Norris Thomas. Let's get to the drill. We start out with the NFL, where I have been proven to be a genius, at least for this week. The Minnesota Vikings, who I told you were my flavor of the week last week, proved me right. They beat the Giants on Monday Night Football 24-10. They've got a great defense, so look for them to continue their winning ways this week coming up. The Eagles are still undefeated, as well as, quietly as is kept, the Denver Broncos with their unknown quarterback. I can't think of his name, but I do know they have a defense, and defense wins championships, so look for the Broncos to continue their winning ways also as the NFL goes into week number 5. On to the baseball playoffs. Guess what? The Blue Jays, the Rangers, the Dodgers, Nationals, Red Sox, Indians, Giants, Cubs. These are all great matchups that you're going to watch. The most intriguing, of course, is that Giants-Cubs, where the Cubs are looking to finally get the monkey off their back, or if they say, break the curse of the Bambino or the Billy Goat or whatever it is that's ailing them. Hopefully the Cubs can pull out a championship this year. The Giants have been there, so they've got experience on their side as of late, so look for a really great matchup there. The Red Sox, of course, Big Papi, hey, he's going to be great throughout this series. Now, on to college football. Clemson. Last week, we talked about the matchup between Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson. Well, it came down to be about 12 yards and 12 seconds before Clemson was able to hold on to for a game-winning stop on defense, 4th and 12, and Louisville could not come up with the big play. However, Lamar Jackson, I don't think this hurt his Heisman chances, but it did improve the chances for Deshaun Watson. He's a great quarterback, and he made the plays down the stretch that proves that, hey, Clemson is definitely a team to be reckoned with in the ACC. Now, this is also the same time where things are going to heat up in the Big Ten. Michigan knocked off Wisconsin last week, 14-7, in a typical Big Ten slugfest. This is what you like about this time of the year. It's going to be a tough October for Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide. They head to Arkansas on Saturday. Then next Saturday, they face a resilient Tennessee team who has a tough test of their own down in College Station against Texas A&M. Tennessee, we don't know. Maybe this might be their year. We're not sure. They've had some big wins. A big win over Florida the week before. Then last week to pull out a Hail Mary with 6 seconds left against Georgia. Now that is what college football is all about on college Saturdays in October. So everyone's about to reach a gauntlet in college football. Stay tuned. This is about to be really, really fun. Now, believe it or not, it is the NBA preseason, and I'm not taped up yet. I'm still looking back and thinking about that Game 7 against the Warriors and the Cavs. Well, guess what? Those two teams will be back full strength, along with the addition of Kevin Durant for the Warriors. So this looks like this is going to be a great NBA season, but that is 195 to 200 games away. So we've got a ways to go. But of course, this is one of those great times of the year where you've got NFL, college football, and the NBA going on. We're going to close out the program today with some other exciting news. Tiger Woods will be back. That's right. The golf legend will be playing in a tournament next week, Thursday. So we'll follow him throughout next week, and we'll recap how he's doing next week when we come back on Sports Drill. Tell you what, I'm glad that Tiger's back. Is great for the game. It's great for me because I get tired of being mistaken for Tiger Woods out on the golf course. I mean, that's Tony the Tiger. That's about what my golf game looks like. Hey, thanks a lot for tuning in to Sports Drill on the Morning Bird Media Network. I'm Norris Thomas. We're going to throw it back to Rashad, and we'll see you next week. Hello everyone, I'm Norris Thomas with Sports Drill on the Morning Bird Media Network. Let's get into the drill. Okay, we're down to 3 teams in Major League Baseball now. The Cleveland Indians have actually clinched their division, so they're going to the World Series on the American League side. Now we're waiting for the National League side as the Dodgers lost to the Cubs last night, 8-4. The Cubs have a 3-2 lead going back to Chicago, where they're going to face, of course, a tough Clayton Kershaw on Saturday. And they've also got to exercise a lot of demons to get over the hump to go back to their first World Series. So good luck, Cub fans. Speaking of Chicago fan base, there's not a lot to cheer about with the Chicago Bears as they lost again to the Green Bay Packers on Thursday Night Football. I believe Aaron Rodgers now is back in the good graces of the Packer faithful, at least for this week. The Boo Birds came out last week against the Dallas Cowboys just this past Sunday. In that same division, you also have the Minnesota Vikings, who are going to go to Philadelphia, where Sam Bradford used to be the starting quarterback there. So look for him to have a great homecoming. They've got a great defense. He's revived his career. We've talked about that before. But he says he harbors no ill will against his former teammates, just wants to play great football this week. On to college football, because hey, guess what? This is what October is really all about. Last Saturday were a couple of thrillers with number 2 and number 3 going into overtime. First of all, let's talk about the number 2 Ohio State Buckeyes. They went into Camp Randall and knocked off Wisconsin after Wisconsin put up a valiant fight. However, that game went into overtime and the Buckeyes pulled that out. Then number 3, Clemson, almost got knocked off by NC State. NC State missed a field goal in regulation. That game goes to overtime and Clemson pulls out the win. And I kind of warned you last week that, hey, you really don't know what you're going to get from NC State, and it was an ACC game, so you have to know that definitely it was going to be a tough game for Clemson, but they pulled it out, so they're going to stand pat where they are. Number 4 and number 5 are back in the action. Michigan and Washington will be back in action this week. But the real story of the weekend, the game that everybody's going to be watching, are the undefeated Alabama Crimson Tide at number 1 versus the Texas A&M Aggies. Now, the last time the Aggies visited Tuscaloosa a couple of years ago, they got drugged 59-0. So look for the Tide to really have their A game on as they take on the Aggies in Tuscaloosa. Should be a great game, should be a great matchup, and it probably will propel Alabama into the month of November, where they're going to take on a very tough LSU team and a surging Auburn team. Now, finally, the NBA season has not started, and it won't start until this Tuesday. So my apologies to everyone. I think last week I mentioned the fact that, hey, the NBA season was only 4 days away. Actually, it starts Tuesday, the 25th. So I'm pretty excited about the tip-off for the NBA season. And of course, there's a lot of games and there's a lot of season, and it's going to probably be into late July before the season's over. So sit back, enjoy the NBA season, enjoy a great weekend of college football, and of course, go Cubs or go Dodgers. And then we'll see where things are next week as the World Series will take place, and we'll talk about that and set that up next week on Sports Drill. My name is Norris Thomas, and you've just been drilled. Hello everyone, and welcome to Sports Drill. I'm Norris Thomas on the Morning Bird Media Network. We begin this week's stories with the passing of Florida Marlins ace Jose Fernandez. Age 24, he died in a tragic boating accident just off the coast of Miami. It is a great loss for what some are saying would be a possible Hall of Fame career. It's a great loss to the baseball community. Of course, he was a Cuban refugee that came over from Cuba, and so he's a great inspiration to so many, but even more so, it's going to be a greater loss to the Florida Marlins. Now, as we promised last week, we were going to get into the pennant races. So right now, guess what? The Boston Red Sox have gone from worst to first in Big Papi's last season as a Red Sox, and so look for them to make some noise once we get into the playoff hunt and so on. Big Papi has been a great ambassador for baseball for so many, but most importantly for the city of Boston. They clinched a couple of nights ago, however, in a loss to the Yankees, but someone else lost earlier in the week, so that gave them a free ride there to get into the playoffs. So look for that pennant race to shape up really well. The Cubs are also doing well, off to a great start. We talked about them last week. They have the best record in the majors, so hopefully, again, like we said last week, hopefully this is going to be their year that they can make some noise. Now rounding out that other bracket, the Nationals and the Dodgers are looking to clinch pennant spots this week. So look for baseball to continue to keep shaping up over the next few days as we get into October, which is a great time of the year, baseball and of course football. As it relates to football, let's go on to college football. And the top story this past week was the firing of LSU head coach Les Miles after the Tigers dropped a last-second decision to the Auburn Tigers in Auburn. The play was called, there was actually a touchdown called. LSU actually mismanaged the clock. Now, I'm not sure if this is what cost Les Miles his job. However, there is speculation, not just speculation, there was a large speculation that should have happened a year ago, back in October around this time. The boosters and the natives were getting pretty restless with some of the play calling and so on. So now Les Miles is out, and LSU is now out to look for a new coach to replace at a very, very prestigious school that's got all the dollars, all the backing, and also the talent pool right there in Louisiana. So look for a great hire for the LSU Tigers. Now, hello everyone, and welcome to Sports Drill on the Morning Bird Media Network. I'm Norris Thomas. Let's get to the drill. Well, the World Series is upon us. The Fall Classic, as they call it, has shifted gears, and now they're going to the Windy City of Chicago after both teams split the first two games 1-1. Chicago came away with a 5-1 victory over the Cleveland Indians. Their bats came alive, as well as some great pitching. So that's slated for a first pitch of 8 o'clock p.m. tonight in Chicago at storied Wrigley Field. On to the NFL and Thursday night football action. The Jacksonville Jaguars dropped another game, losing to the Tennessee Titans. DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry ran roughshod over the Jaguars. That's the good news. The bad news is the Jaguars, they're going to get a paycheck for last night's performance. On to the NBA. Well, the season kicked off as we promised a couple of weeks ago. So Tuesday night was the opening night for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They got their rings and also a win over the New York Knicks. On the West Coast, the Golden State Warriors, they didn't get a ring, and they also didn't get a win as San Antonio beat them 129-100. So a 29-point loss on opening night. I think they said last year the Warriors didn't lose a game until like April, at least a home game anyway. So not much to panic about. Of course, there's about 100 and how many games in the NBA season. So I'm sure we'll see some great matchups here over the next couple of weeks as the season begins to progress and unfold. As far as games this weekend, there's none bigger, there's none better than the Magic City Classic. That's going to kick off in Birmingham this weekend. Expect about 60,000 fans or more in Legion Field and about another 75,000 on the outside of the stadium, because you know what? It's all about the bands, baby. It's all about the barbecue, and it's all about the party, with Ludacris being the headliner performer at the Magic City Classic this year. So hey, get out this weekend, see some great college football. The World Series should be great this week, and of course NFL action on Sunday, and the NBA is here, baby. So let's enjoy the weekend. We'll see you next week. This has been Sports Drill, and you have been drilled on the Morning Bird Media Network.
Where we begin at beautiful University of Phoenix Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Norris Thomas with Max Preps at the Game, fueled by the G-Series. Today, you have 5A Division I action between the Hamilton Huskies and the Desert Vista Thunder. The Huskies come in with a nation-leading 53 straight wins, looking for 54, but most importantly today, 7 state championships on the line in the past 9 years in their appearances. Coach Dan Hines from Desert Vista has his team primed. They were here a couple of years ago, but lost the trophy. They've also lost to Hamilton early in the year, so we have 2 familiar foes in today's state championship game. Fly sweep is on hand for the Desert Vista Thunder. Dan Hines is looking for Mike Giordano to lead both sides of the ball on offense and on defense. He's a fullback and linebacker. Hunter Rodriguez is going to have to spread the ball around. Look for Caleb Tabanero on the fly sweep. He's been successful taking some sweeps and some pass plays from Hunter Rodriguez. For the Huskies, this is familiar territory for them. Looking for number 4 now. They've got 3 in a row looking for number 4. The names are familiar. Blake Kemp, Kendall Taylor, those names are all familiar to everyone. But defensively, Calvin Thomas and for Jackson Hood on the defense, along with Reggie Daniels. This looks to be another great matchup for a state championship that's on the line. On Max Preps at the Game, fueled by the G-Series. It's the perfect night in the state of Arizona for the perfect game. Chandler Hamilton versus the Chandler Wolves. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Norris Thomas with Max Preps at the Game, fueled by the G-Series. Hey, what more can you ask for than a second-round matchup between the number 1 rated Huskies and the number 9 rated Chandler Wolves? Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Norris Thomas with Max Preps at the Game, fueled by the G-Series. Tonight, a 5A2 matchup between 2 highly touted teams coming in tonight. The Soror Sabercats come in at 7-1 on the evening, looking to take out the Tempe Buffaloes. They come in at 3-4. For the Sabercats tonight, Mike Hauser, he's a guard, and also Matt Hauser, number 12. Those 2 guards are going to lead the attack. Also, big number 44, Cliff Mark, in the middle for.
Hello, this is Norris Thomas with Max Preps at the Game, presented by Playtech Sport. Hey, tonight is a night of champions in the state of Arizona for track and field. Division I, Division II, Division III, and Division IV. They've changed the classification, so now we can add a lot of champions and different classifications combined together. Hey, it's going to be a great night of action. Look forward to seeing you, and here's some of the highlights from this year's state championships for the AIA in Arizona.
From an estimated sold-out stadium here at Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona, nothing disappointed tonight. Both quarterbacks were red hot. Nick Foles got injured late in the fourth quarter, but his backup comes in and makes a great play to Kreiner. Kreiner comes in for the touchdown, and then it was up to ASU to make their last stand. Block Osweiler's pass falls incomplete at the goal line, giving Arizona the win tonight in the 85th Annual Territorial Cup. At Pac-12 Football, this has been Norris Thomas. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time.